Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Bruno here. We're doing another helpful series video with Bella Vista RV in Oro Medonte. We're using a few of their units. They've asked us to help them with some friendly reminder videos for their customers. Because when you buy a trailer, especially if you buy it at the end of the season, when we're filming right now, we're in October, so a lot of people buy their trailers, put them into storage, and you got your walkthrough video and there's tons of information. And are you going to remember that by April or May? Maybe, maybe not. If you are, you're probably one of the very few. So at RVing TV and at Bruno Tambari TV, we're posting this on both of my channels. We are working in collaboration with Bella Vista RV to bring you a helpful series on various systems in your RV that will be little reminder videos. Today's video is actually going to be on power tongue jacks, but not how they operate, because they're pretty straightforward with push button up or down, or if you have a special system like the BAL 5.3 system that auto levels, and I'll put a link to that video up here. You know, the power part is really easy. What I want to talk to you about is what happens if you don't have power? What if your battery died and you're picking this up at your storage lot? What if your fuse has popped and you don't have any spare fuses on you, but you got to pack up and leave and you don't have time to get a spare fuse? Maybe the camp store doesn't have one. What do you do? Or worst case scenario, what if water got in? You know, maybe this isn't 6 months after you bought your unit, it's 4 years later. Or maybe you've just bought a used unit and the tongue jack has died. How do you get that jack up so you can either get it high enough to hook up to your truck or get the foot retracted so you can pull away from the campsite? So I'm going to show you today 3 different types of jacks and tell you about the tools that you're going to need. So I'm going to grab the camera in a moment. We bring you fantastic RVs, detailed walkthroughs, upgrade tutorials, parts reviews, and even some automotive content. This is RVing TV. Now, typically you're going to need either a socket extension, 3/8. You may need a 3/4 inch socket, and of course you'll need the extension and your hand crank. Or if you're going to cheat like I did, buy the socket extension that hooks up to your impact driver, because this will become a very handy tool when you travel in an RV. And the reason I mention these tools is some trailers, the manufacturers will include the hand crank, some they don't. So let's show you a typical jack that's been around for a while. I'm going to grab the camera here. Okay, so we've switched the camera around. So on this style of jack, which is a very popular style, been around for a while, you take this little knob off, and when you look down, you're going to see essentially what looks like a little nib. Now, in actual fact, as we focus a little more, it actually has edges on it. Those edges, you would use a socket extension with a 7/16 socket. And now we don't have a 7/16 with us, but it would go down, and then you would hand crank to raise or lower your actual jack. Now, if you have your power drill or impact driver like I mentioned, then you can use that to raise or lower your tongue jack. Now let's take a look at a slightly different system. This is the BAL 5.3 auto level system, and we have done a video on this. So when you walk up to your tongue jack, that's what it's going to look like. You're typically looking for some sort of plastic grommet, etc., that's keeping water out. We're going to give you a little look down. This one is a little harder to see, but you can actually see the indentation. And the way this works is you take your 3/8 socket extension, drop it in. You could hear that little click in place. Now, if you had a hand socket, you could turn it by hand here. And if you have your impact driver or your drill, use the power drill, and it will raise or lower the actual unit. Now, I'm going to stop the camera for a second because we're going to go across the lot to those units, and we're going to show you the third type of power jack. Okay, so this is our third type of jack here. You can see it's a power tongue jack. Now, this happens to be on a Hideout by Keystone, and we're here at Bella Vista RV. Now, if something were to happen and this were to fail, you come to this grommet, pop it off, and when you look inside, what you're going to notice, it's a little hard to see because it's a little dark, is that little fitting. That fitting is actually a 3/4 inch socket. So we have one on the drill, and I'm going to try to do this one-handed because I'm going to tell you it actually takes a lot of force. And that's what you're going to do with a power drill to raise or lower your tongue jack. So if you needed to leave the campground, you would raise it, get your truck backed up onto the ball here, you would drop it, and then continue to run it in reverse so that your foot is brought back up to the frame so you can actually tow this and then take it into your dealer